They do have their third pickup now. Arguably, probably going to be the KP hero to pop out. He had a great Tide performance last game, doing so much work, but it has been banned out. You brought up the Brewmaster though, but now they go for the flex pick and the Void Spirit. We have seen that quite a few times in the off lane. We've seen it in the mid lane, and I believe you and we've even casted it in the safe lane at some point. So it can really go anywhere. I would assume it's going to be the off lane hero, but it's not really something I think of when I think of KP.
Yeah.
He does tend to enjoy those beefier kind of off lanes that, again, just like to create havoc in the team fights. And Void Spirit, not really exactly one of those heroes.
No, it isn't, but I believe KP has played it for TNC a couple of times.
He has.
So it's a viable option there. Yeah, it's a viable option there. How much you can get is a different question. It's quite strong with Grimstroke though, right? You jump in, you've got the Inkspell on, very easy follow-up, very easy way to find a kill. So it's potent in that sense. It gives TNC some early pacing to play around with. Once you hit 6, you should be able to give the Shaker some time to farm the Blink, and we always mention that when the Shaker is picked up, but pause for a Shaker does need space to find a farm for a Blink. So the Void Spirit should enable that, and that is certainly still playing into what TNC wants. Boom, though, they're not kidding around. DK comes out, very flexible pick, right? You don't have the mid laner or the off laner quite set in. It gives them great push. So you've got the LD and the DK who can just melt these towers fast. I think Boom wants to pull that fast pace back for game 2.
I can't blame them. And I gotta say, I love that DK pick coming out. Lone Druid DK is a devastating amount of push that can be there. Not to mention, like, you've got these two tanky frontliners now in the Spirit Bear and the DK. It can make it very, very tough to go into those backlines where you're going to try and find that ancient apparition, right? If you're this Void Spirit, you're going after the Lone Druid himself, you're going after the AA, you're trying to burst those down, and then go on to something like the DK a bit later on. But TNC now, they have a pick that can deal with both the Lone Druid and the DK. The Necrophos.
I'm a bit iffy on that one. It's great burst and control, right, for those two heroes. But your sustain is not there. AA just takes it away.
Right.
You're not going to be healing up in these fights, so the durability of the Necrophos, I'm not sure if it's going to be there, but in terms of control and burst, it helps out massively in pinning down one of these two heroes. I think that is still giving Boom a lot more to play with. Like, they've got last pick. TNC has to close this draft out, so they're going to reveal for us if the Void Spirit's off or mid with his last pick. The last pick should be a Gabby hero. I mean, the Ricky might make an appearance if they wanted it to. You've got a pretty solid lineup for it. Whether or not you can eat through the LD or the DK with the Ricky, though, early on, probably not.
Oh,
So there's going to be a bit of a...
The Ricky is nice against the LD, though, right? You can just blink onto the actual Lone Druid and just burst him down, ignore the bear altogether. It's something we've seen a lot being picked into the Lone Druid. If there's ever been a time to take it, it's probably now. Not necessarily great up against the DK, but you have the Necrophos for that, so you're not too worried about that side of things. And back on the point of the AA versus Necrophos, I think the idea from TNC is that the Void Spirit will take care of that support AA straight off the bat. Now, I do question whether he even gets to that point, and whoa, we have a Terrorblade popping out for TNC. Interesting pick. Very reliant on that Metamorphosis. We go over this every time, but if you die, you can't buy back because you don't do anything. Unless you haven't used the meta, and every time that meta's off, you just can't do anything. You're just kind of sitting there farming instead.
We've seen Gabby play that hero a lot, of course.
Uh-oh.
I love the counter up from Boom. Pugna. It ruins Necrophos. It ruins Terrorblade. So you need to build a fast BKB on Gabby, and the Necrophos' sustain works against it. Boom, again, tying up their draft in a magnificent fashion. You've got push on all 3 cores. You've got the answer to all 3, all 2 big cores from TNC. TNC has to really play around Gabby. They have to be on point with a metamorphosis. If not, they're not going to have a map to play in a very short span. Boom will just push you down.
It's going to be a very, very interesting game between these two. Of course, again, TNC, they're going to try and see if they can get a draw going for themselves up against Boom Esports. It's the best they could hope for. It hasn't been a very good day for TNC thus far, John. They're currently 0-3. Unfortunately for TNC, getting 2-0'd by Adroit as well. And, well, they definitely don't want to have a day like RR had yesterday, going 0-4. Oh, yeah. But it definitely is possible right now. Boom, just keep up their performance. Of course, if you're unaware, after this series, we still have 2 more series coming up. Boom Esports will be back to fight Geek Fam straight after this series. And then after that, our final series of the night will be Execration versus Signal Ultra. But for now, these 2 big teams are up for us, and we'll focus on these guys.
Yeah, it is going to be the Armel Void Spirit as well. So KP is on Necrophos, just to act as a slowing down factor for Dreams. I don't think this is going to hurt the Lone Druid too much. He's going to be playing with Bear anyway, right? It's going to be up front. He's still going to find the last hits. KP should be able to sustain himself, though. And we'll see just how much TNC can get out from their draft.
That mid Void Spirit Armel, we've seen him on this hero before, and he does tend to make a lot of space for the team on this kind of hero. He's very, very aggressive on this Void Spirit from the previous experiences. Whether he has a good game, though, is going to be a completely different question entirely. It's not the easiest of lanes up against the Pugna.
Yeah, it really isn't, and well, TNC, I think there's just a lot of timing here that needs to come out. Like, Armel definitely on Void Spirit should have an early start. We've just seen him do this a lot. My biggest concern is KP in the front and Gabby's farm. I don't know if Gabby will have the space he needs to find that farm. With this kind of lineup from Boom, it's just the map. You're going to lose your tier 1s fairly quickly. I think by the 10 to 15 mark, you're probably looking at two tier 1s gone just from having the DK, LD, and Pugna. They just push way too fast.
That's the problem. That's the real issue here for Gabby. Like, you're going to buy a few Wraith Bands, you're going to rotate into the jungle, but Boom Esports, they're going to try and take that jungle away from you very quickly. You don't really want to be locked in to a very small portion of the map if you are a Terrorblade, because you are very, very reliant on that jungle farm. Yes, John?
They actually switch it out. Dreamocell has a shared tangos. He's going down mid.
Oh, okay.
They want the Pugna to match up against KP, I suppose. Just keep that counter, or on the TB, because that's never fun. You're going to be disarmed.
Either way, you're still happy if you're Boom Esports.
Yeah, for sure. This is just going to be really hard for TNC to find the farm in that lane, regardless. Like, Dreamocell, sure. You know, the Void Spirit hits hard. It can really annoy you, but you don't care. You've got a bear. Just sit back, let the bear dude work, respawn it, and heal it up if it drops low, but that's it.
Alright, we'll have the go-ahead. See where Makoto does head to, and for now he's having to think about it. FBZ is going to go up to that top lane. And that's the thing, right? Whether you have the Pugna, whether you have the DK, that Gabby has a hard time no matter what. Because even if you don't have the Decrepify there, you have the Breathe Fire to just lower his attack down to the point where he won't be able to CS because you'll just deny him every single time. Of course, when he has meta up, it's a different story, but it's such a long cooldown, especially at level 1. It's not really going to be up that often to be able to farm these waves. If they keep up this tri-lane as well from Boom Esports, you got Clockwork AA in one lane. You just get a cold feed and cogs. That is game over for whoever is caught.
Yeah. You will need perhaps level 2 to maximize this tri-lane. That can be a bit slow in terms of finding EXP, but it's really potent. I don't think you really need to help Mikado out too much. It is going to be against a Necrophos, and both sides can really just shove the lane. I don't think you're going to be too worried about KP finding early farm. You've got tools to deal with any early sustain coming out from them anyway. So if they wanted to play aggressive, they really could. There's nothing stopping them.
Well, KP can be a real nuisance on this Necrophos, let me tell you, John. Played this hero quite a few times. Can be very, very frustrating to have to go up against. Do have that natural counter though in Makoto, so Makoto's gonna have his hands full this game. Though I love the item build Makoto's queued up. Dagons. Straight up Dagons. I mean,
Yeah.
it works, right? Like you're gonna use it with your Decrepify anyway, but KP goes into Ghost form, you just Dagon.
Yeah. And they're not gonna be there. They gone. It's so nice against the Terrorblade as well, right? Like high armor. Who cares? You're just gonna burst them down.
Just gonna zap him. There might be no fights over the bounty runes. TNC will take the bottom bounty runes for free. Boom Esports will oblige and take the top bounty runes for themselves. And FBZ is indeed going to stay up at that top lane. Dreamer Soul is definitely going to go back down mid. Find it kind of interesting that he keeps the Blightstone on himself on that Lone Druid rather than the Spirit Bear, but I suppose at the start you are much stronger than the Bear anyway, so you may as well.
Yeah, it's some situations where you will pull that bear back. You might as well apply that debuff yourself with your range advantage anyway. And for Armel, probably not the hardest lane. And, well, if you get rooted up, it's not going to be easy either.
That's the problem though, you've got constant harassment that'll come in here from Dreamer Cell. Armel's job is just to stay safe and keep securing CS, trying to get to level 6 or 7 so you can start rotating. Maybe even find a solo pick-off onto this Lone Druid if you feel like you have enough damage. But I think Gabby will need help very, very early on, and I think we can all agree on that. It's just not going to be an easy lane here with FBZ. Then again, though, if March can get some nice pulls off to this small camp like he already has, it could be... well, he didn't even pull, he just got a nice block off, but... If you could just keep the equilibrium behind that T1 tower, Gabby should be able to farm fairly nicely. FBZ should really have no influence.
Yeah, it's really down to denying that EXP on the side of Boom, so March with a pulse has to be pretty on point. Gabby has been playing conservatively though, hasn't really popped the meta just yet. And as long as he doesn't have to, I guess you're gonna be happy in this kind of scenario.
He doesn't need it. Not yet. Bot lane as well, you'll see KP there on the Necrophos. He's going to be up against Makoto. Kescute is going to be there on the Clockwork. Of course, we will also see Tim's around on the Earthshaker, just to get a few levels up and maybe make a rotation down mid. Again, he doesn't really want to be near the Clockwork, because it's just... There's no way you trade farm or trade harass evenly with a Clockwork as an Earthshaker. And Kescute, how dedicated are you, sir? He will give up on the courier snipe for Tim's courier. And I'm kind of intrigued as well whether we will see the Clockwork making rotations or whether Kescute just intends to stick around in this bot lane. Because in all honesty, with Cog's Battery Assault, KP can't really do much. But Kescute's going to try and chase him down right now. And there's the Battery Assault. You only need one to hit, and now the Cogs with Makoto there with the Nether Blast. It's going to be a First Blood coming out down the bot lane. He Fairy Fires, but it's not going to be enough. Makoto does get the kill on Tim's. All he could do was Fisher.
Yeah, it's a great little start for Boom. They're starting to find their foothold there. I think the one thing TNC has going for it is the fact that Gabby's lane is going really well. He's pretty much free-farmed here. FBZ is just focusing on his own farm. They're not really able to apply any meaningful...
Oh, looks like your internet's cutting out on me, John. I'll get you to have a look at that, and hopefully that's fixed up pretty quick. But yeah, Gabby is having a decent time so far. 20-4 or 20-3 on the Terrorblade. Just got to keep that up. I suppose it is perfectly fine for FBZ to just focus on his own farm. He wants to get those quick treads and braces into the blink, but now the Inkswell, Gabby trying to chase onto Hyde. The Inkswell won't end up landing thanks to the Dragon Tail there of FBZ. It's just back to the farming game for both cores. Armel's having a decent old time in the mid lane as well. Just trading farm evenly with Dreamer Soul, who hasn't really been able to shut down Armel. I mean, this is the whole reason why you had the Lone Druid there in the first place, is to try and get this man down. Though bot lane, Makoto does end up going down. KP ends up securing a kill on the Pugna. Now, that's an important one. This is essentially your position 1 Pugna right now in this safe lane, so KP going to be happy about that. Kodo just going to make his way back in though. Gets a very, very nice bunch of farm there from those neutral camps. Down both the creeps, in fact. Top lane, FBZ going to be able to find Gabby on that Terrorblade as well. And this is what we were really talking about. You've got to be very wary if you are the Terrorblade, because you are susceptible to dying like that. And you can't forget, it's not a Clockwork AA combination up at top lane, but you have Dragon Tail Cold Feet, which is almost just as good. And you will be able to secure kills on the Terrorblade, assuming you do land that combination. So pings, bot lane, Makoto. Gets blocked up, a great fisher out from Tims. Can you lock him down long enough though? KP is kind of out of mana right now. I don't think they're going to have the damage output. They do burn through some regen, but Makoto, he still has wand charges and the bottle up. Be fine to just keep trading here as Kescute. Gonna go on to KP. Has level 2 battery assault, but doesn't opt to bother trying as Tims was still around. But now we'll see Hyde rotate down. So he feels safe to leave FBZ up at the top lane by himself. And with Hyde there, you can guarantee kills onto KP. Kind of like this, where you get the battery assault cogs. KP try to run away. They slow him up. He can go Shroud, but that only amplifies the damage. He will end up dying, but now Armel makes a rotation. He is going to find the support Clockwork trade. And luckily for him, because he has the haste rune, he can rotate back mid very, very quickly. They won't really find Hyde though on that AA. Would have been a nice secondary support kill if they could have. But you've hit a bit of a power spike now for Armel, where he can just rotate around the map and just try to secure kills for his team and create all kinds of havoc. And as well as that, looks like KP has made the call that he wants to be in the mid lane now, as that Pugna Clockwork lane is just going to be way too rough for him. Speaking of that Clockwork, Kescute being blocked up by the Fisher now throws out the cogs, but Tims will be able to secure the kill now on the Earthshaker on the back of all the damage that Armel is dealing as well. And essentially for Armel, this is going to be his life for a while, just trying to kill people off.
Yeah, that's really what you expect from the Void Spirit though, and I did try to fix my internet. I'm not sure if it's really helping, is it?
You sound fantastic, sir.
Oh, good.
Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Looks like a fair bit of aggression came out here during that downtime, but one thing that's been consistent is Gabby's farm. He's still 53-5. He's died once, but I think at this point, Gabby's perfectly happy staying in the jungle.
That's just generally what you see on the from the Terrorblades. They just find a few Wraith Bands and make that rotation into the jungle. Bot lane, however, Armel still on a tear here, finding Hyde now on that AA. His second kill of the game, but I believe that's the third kill he's participated in thus far. Finds a nice little Invis rune to bottle up as well while he's at it, and straight back down to the bot lane, where we will see Hyde TP down to. And he will slowly but surely start being surrounded. Even Gabby showing up now. Has that level 3 meta, and it looks like it's time to try and push down a tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they've got the scan off as well. They know someone's hiding here, and Armel should find himself a nice kill.
Or Hyde. Gonna go down very, very easily. And now that'll be a guaranteed trade on those tier 1s as well. Of course, the side of Boom Esports did find their own tier 1 up at top lane. And it's off the back of Dreamercell, who has been farming rather nicely on that Lone Druid. Currently sitting at 4.2k net worth, and we are going to have another pause. So we do have the...
Oh.
That's an...
Can't
just unpause like that, I don't think. You've got to kind of tell them. But I believe it was probably a mistake. And yeah, Makoto, he was trying to pause at the same time.
Oh,
that's why he unpaused.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but you know, Southeast Asian internet, fast reconnect, so that's a good sign. Nope, not a fast reconnect.
Sure, he'll be back soon.
Yeah, it's still looking a bit better here for TNC early on. I think that top tier 1 does put a bit of a dent in the areas where Gabby can farm. But up pace with the kills, you're seeing the activity from Armel.
He's going to make the way back into mid. Armel, of course, going to be going for that Spirit Vessel rush, which will really work out quite nicely up against all the heroes of Boom Esports. So denying some of that heal off from the Pugner, as well as just really dealing with that DK and the Lone Druid. And KP, if he could bait them in right now, it'd just be fantastic, as he does also have the Reaper Scythe. We do have a reconnection there from Makoto, but no go-ahead yet.
The one thing for Boom right now is their supports are not finding EXP. You look at Kezcute, still stuck at level 3. You look at Hyde, who just hit 4 before dying there. And they need to hit that 6 mark to start playing aggressive. They need a hookshot. They need the Ice Blast. And before then, I think you're at the point where Cog's Battery Assault might not be enough without follow-up.
We'll find out soon. They might run into each other. Boom is, again, going to just try and control up that Dire jungle, which is really important when you're up against a Terrorblade. Luckily, Gabby, understanding this, does go straight down to the Radiant side jungle and farm there instead. He can slowly apply this tier 2 tower pressure as well, if he is left alone. Like, even just leaving an illusion there on the tier 2 tower can be kind of annoying for Boom to try and deal with, but Makoto will already be there just to make sure. And now a smoke up from TNC, and they're going to run straight into Kezcute. Not quite the kill they wanted. I believe they did really want Dreamercell on that Lone Druid, and that's why they ran north. Luckily for Dreamercell, Kezcute was there to break the smoke, and well, he's just going to go for a quick TP out. Nobody going to notice he's TPing, and he'll be fine to get out of there. But Hyde does end up going down to Gabby in the meantime. Now the outpost being taken away by TNC, and that is not great for Boom. They are kind of relying on that outpost XP to get both their supports up in terms of levels, and now it's denied off.
Yeah, it's a really big win for TNC again. A much better start for them here as we reach the 10-minute mark. Boom, they're still going to be EXP starved. We talked about this earlier, but Kezcute's still at 3. You don't even have 5 on Hyde. And this does mean that Boom can't be as aggressive as they'd want to be.
Bottom lane, Armel, Arcane Rune in the bottle. Feeling confident, he'll spot out FBZ, but he doesn't have too many teammates around him right now. He doesn't feel like he can make that jump. However, Boom Esports would happily oblige if he did want to. Gotta be careful though now. Tims does eat the tomb and does have level 6. Of course, still no blink up on the Earthshaker, but he's getting closer and closer as time goes on. And instead, TNC want to be the ones to try and force in towers, and they'll go after that tier 1 mid. FBZ will get jumped on. 8th Remnant there with a nice Fisher block onto FBZ. Now the Reaper Scythe and the Echo, just to make sure he does end up dying. And they can definitely secure that tier 1 mid with this Terrorblade meta.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for Boom to fight in. They don't have their ults. They are splitting with Mikado up top as well. So Mikado did do some damage to the tier 2, but he comes back in.
Dream Assault trying to send that Spirit Bearer in to do something. It's not as tanky as you would hope at the moment. Another nice Fisher block, just splitting up the team fight from Tims. Kezcute getting jumped on, does survive with the Cogs. Dream Assault trying to run away with that Spirit Bear. Sends it back in. Dream Assault getting it Rudolph here onto the Terrorblade. Decrepify there as well. Gabby's in trouble. Gabby will get blown up. Pugna damage, you cannot underestimate how much he does. And now Armel trying to get out of there. He will Astral Step. The rest of TNC will be fine. But the problem is you did not find the mid tier 1, and you did not end up getting Gabby out safely.
Yeah, it's a major issue for TNC. Just losing Gabby like that always hurts. He's #1 in that word right now. It's their mid tier 1 that is going to be taken. And Boom just pushes faster.
They push
It's
a
just
lot
that
faster.
simple.
It's substantially faster. Like, it's once you have the Mask of Madness up on this Spirit Bear, it is kind of crazy how fast he can take down towers. And even that casual Blightstone on the actual lone druid is, you know, really amplifying that damage from everybody.
It really is. And TNC, I think the best they can hope for is Armel to continue to hunt down people. Looks like he has his sights set on Kezcute.
Yeah, gets fished up, does throw the Cogs out, but Armel will happily just jump in. Ice Blast was coming in just in case.
Ooh.
It does actually connect on Armel, who jumped into it. Makoto just needs a bit more damage, but it won't be enough. Armel should be just fine to walk out with his life intact. And they all TP up towards the top lane now, where they're going to try and deal with Dreamer Cell. He is going to TP. Tims needs to get a Fisher off ASAP. Can't find one.
Missed opportunity. Right now, you really want to be able to punish Dreamocell. He's had a bit too free of a time, and he's just been steadily farming up towards what looks to be an MKB.
It's getting to that point where it might be too late. Like, this draft from Boom Esports is really starting to come out online. And TNC may need to just try and play the avoid game, as Kezcute now looking for a hook shot on the clock. Won't quite find an angle. Nor does he find a hero, but he will as Armel just kind of runs straight into them. He can actually step away, but hookshot is perfect from Kezcute. Just slipping right through that tree line.
Just the discipline in chaining those stunts and having the cogs right outside takes away this tempo setter of TNC. They do still maintain a 3k lead here. A lot of that is just riding on Gabby though. So you're bleeding out in a lot of your other cores. They are smoked up trying to find something, but even if they find FBZ, I don't think he minds on DK.
Nah, he won't mind too much. He's actually going to TP out. They're not going to get him in time. The only way to stop that was the blind Fisher from Tims, but he couldn't see anything. And now with that rotation being made down bot lane, look at Dreamcell. Up at the top with Makoto. Easily just pushing in a tier 2 tower, forcing out the glyph. You've got Kezcute there as well, who has hookshot off cooldown in 5 seconds. There's no way to defend this. Boom will just take it for free.
Yeah, and they can't even push out the bot lane as well as a trade. There's just not a fast push coming out, even if you commit the metamorphosis. It's just not as strong. They could try to go for the mid, but they've kind of split up now.
Yeah, Armel. Got to be careful. Kezcute, he's looking for that angle. He waits for the dissimulate. Rocket Flare will not get vision, and Armel will get out of range. But there's another thing you have to be scared about here if you're TNC. Of course, when you have a lone druid, you always have that Roshan potential. And it's not going to be very hard to take that Roshan down quickly with a Pugna DK and lone druid. And Boom Esports, I'm sure they'll slowly but surely start warding around that pit and getting prepared for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a very easy objective for them to take. They've got the control on the map as well. They could just... Gabby is farming in a very unsafe area. He is spotted out.
And Makoto gonna be there to Crepify and Nether Blast. FBZ coming in now. He has the stun. No Dragon Tail yet. He waits for the Manta. Now Manta expended. He will jump in with the Live Train as well. But the hook shot, KezQ will make sure he dies. They do at least find a trade onto the Pugna, but Armel now needs to run away. Tims will Fisher and allow some space for his Void Spirit. But Boom Esports, you trade a Pugna for a Terrorblade? I think you're happy.
You're very happy with that trade. You're just taking away that investment TNC's putting into Gabby. Again, that slight lead TNC has, a lot of it is just on Gabby. So you're not finding maximum value from that Terrorblade so far. And every single time he dies, Boom just gets happier. They can shove out a lane. They can slowly build up. Dreamo Cell's still waiting on that MKB. Should be up and running soon, although.
Yeah, Outpost taken, KezQ taking a bit of damage, but the thing is with support Clockwork, he's actually a little bit tanky. It's kind of hard to burst him down, and Armel just doesn't really have the damage unless he can hit him for a prolonged amount of time, and now KP top lane gets bursted down. That's that Ice Blast you talked about against KP's Necrophos. It is going to be a problem, and well, that's why.
Yeah, there's just no way you survive unless you've got a way to bail yourself out, and it's not easy. The Necrophos' strength is on the edge. You're not gonna have an edge to play on with that hero here.
Now it's onto that tier 2 mid tower. Not gonna be the fastest push, but I say that. Mask of Madness on the Spirit Bear. Makoto with the Nether Blast. They did make these towers tankier, but you've still got heroes that tend to deal with them quite easily nonetheless. KP will show himself mid. March will also TP in, but it looks like Boom are just happy with forcing those rotations. They'll back off again. Just keep making TNC chase you around the map. That's the objective, it seems.
Yeah. They are playing that quite well, Boom. TNC's not finding the targets they want with these chases. Armel has really just not farmed. He's been constantly around the map, and this is going to hurt his Ag's timing. You know, he found those early kills, which were great. It slowed down a lot now. And that just means you're tearing farm away from Gabby if you do try to go into the jungle.
Well, mid lane, they'll send the Terrorblade Illusions in, which will be enough to force the deny of the tier 1 tower. And Dreamer will not give any free gold out. Now, TNC roaming through the jungle. Looks like KezQ does catch out Tims. Tims had the Blink Dagger up, but does end up dropping regardless, as it was cancelled by KezQ. I guess now if you're TNC, you're just playing the waiting game here for Gabby, who is still trying to farm up that Eye of Skadi on the Terrorblade. But while you're farming that up, there's an MKB up now on Dreamosaur Spirit Bear.
Just makes it a lot harder to tank through that damage on Dreamosaur. Not only that, but I believe Mikado has his first Dagon up.
Uh-oh. Might be on the courier. Gabby farming right next to Boom. Tim jumps in, gets an Echo Slam off on the Lone Druid. Do they have enough though? He's morphing.
No.
He'll be fine. He will not die. And now Armel will jump in, but that Lone Druid, he's so tanky right now. KezQ at least will die. Reaper Scythe will be enough. They do secure the kill, and now FBZ needs to get out of there. Clumsy Net, not going to help his cause. He will die. They will chase for the final kill around them. Hyde, but he'll be alright. He gets out in time as well. But that's a 3-for-1 trade. The only one to die was Tims on the Earthshaker. And that's really the potency of KP's Reaper Scythe. Nobody else can deal with the Lone Druid apart from this Necrophos.
Yeah, it's a great fight for TNC. One thing with Boom there was that Mikado was so far away. He wasn't in that fight, and that did cost them. They need a way to mitigate the damage coming out from Gabby. They did not have it there. The Spirit Vessel was doing a lot of work as well from Armel to stop our DK from being a tanky boy. So TNC now starting to find ways to chip away at Boom, but Boom probably not feeling too phased out from that.
Top lane, Armel. A nice kill, FBZ. No, it doesn't get the Dragon Tail off. That would have been a basic insta-kill had he stunned, but looks like there was a bit of confusion there. And yeah, he's not happy about it, that's for sure. Armel does get out scot-free. They still go, though. Hook. Ooh. Oh, perfect from Kezcute. That's the thing about playing Clockwork, John. You've got to find angles. And Kezcute continues to find them. Just on the edge of that hook.
Yeah, just still giving them something with that kill. Not the biggest kill, of course, but you're getting gold on your clock. That is helpful. This allows them to go into the Roche pit. And it should be fairly quick once Dreamosol joins in.
Yeah, we talked about this Roshan before. It's going to be a really fast Roche with the Lone Druid. And TNC not in position to try and counter this Roshan play. They have smoked up now. They do have time. Echo is down for 15 seconds, however. But they just want to try and go for a steal. KP moving his way in. FBZ stuns an illusion. Roshan still up, and now a bounty being placed on the AA, and Hyde is actually going down to Armel. Still, the Roshan is very low, but Armel does claim the bounty. That's one way of winning. Now FBZ gets a stun off. They do kill off Armel on that Void Spirit. Echo is going to be there from Tims, landing on 2, but it's not enough. Tims will die to Makoto. Now that Spirit Bear hitting away onto KP, and he has no Reaper Scythe target. He is going to die as well. It's a triple kill out for Makoto. The tips come out from the clock, and it's just back into the Roshan pit. They just didn't really focus on that Roshan. They tried to focus on the art of fight. And it was really Armel. He tried to take down the AA first. He found the AA, but they just never really made their way into the pit afterwards.
Yeah, it's a costly mistake, and Armel is their most mobile hero. He's the guy who could go in, interrupt the Roche fight, and that split cost them. They lose a lot of heroes. Aegis means that you're going to have a harder time dealing with Dreamosol. And TNC now, they don't have Slam, so the next team fight, not going to have that tool available. Boom should be able to push into a lane with no real worries.
That's exactly what they intend to do. Going back for that tier 2 mid tower. Dreamosol will be cautious. He doesn't want to just lose the Aegis for no reason. Oh, KP, you do not want to be there right now. FBZ going to loop around looking for that Dragon Tail, but no, they'll just try to secure that tier 2. They'll find it. And now Boom, maybe just opt to back out, and they almost have an AC up on Dreamosol, so there's no need to rush this.
It's slow and steady for them. This does give TNC time to finish up that Scotty on Gabby. So he's going to hit a little bit harder, mitigate the healing coming out from Mikado. But his focus has mainly been on nukes this time. Not a very heal-friendly Pugna. So it's not going to help too much against that burst, although the stat padding is nice.
Gabby removing himself from that bottom lane. He was in real danger there. Smoke will lead to nothing for Boom Esports. Of course, Boom want to continue this aggression. They don't want to give any more time over to that Terrorblade, who does have that Eye of Skadi up, building into that BKB. Of course, make use of that Aegis. I wonder, though, whether they'll try to force a high ground push or whether they'll just go for a full-scale team fight to really expend that Aegis here for the side of Boom.
I think they'd want to use it on an objective. That's where their team really shines. Although they smoke again, and looks like they have an idea where TNC's at.
Well, they left Dreamosol at the bot lane by himself. It's a lot of damage you're missing, and the reason why they smoked up is because Kezcute's in trouble. He will die, but now FPZ jumps in anyway with the Ice Blast follow-up there from Hyde, but Armel's still alive throughout all this. Now the Nether Ward, Armel trying to TP out. The Ice Blast passive may be enough. No. Ooh, it was close. Ooh. He'll survive. KP, however, still being chased up. Dreamosol has now joined his team. KP has that Glimmer Cape, and oh, that is a sneaky spot, KP. He does get away. No. Oh, that is cheeky.
Oh, man.
That's a cheeky one.
And that's why Boom should start carrying some dust, just to ensure they find those kills. But in the end, TNC's going to be pretty happy with that. They forced the buyback out from Kezcute. They don't really find anything beyond that, but just forcing the buyback out is enough to take a little bit of that lead Boom had away. So Kezcute's progression has slowed down, and TNC gets more space to farm for Gabby. As you mentioned, he's saving up for the BKB. He's inching closer towards it, and once you have that BKB, you aren't worried about Mikato anymore.
Still worried about that lone druid though. Dreamer Cell is very, very close to having the full AC, and now looks to make a push onto the high ground. Again, we talked about that Aegis. He is going to indeed use it on objective. That's the glyph. Boom won't glyph their own creeps. Instead, FBZ jumping in onto Tim's. Hookshot there to back him up, but it doesn't connect on Tim still. The Nether Blast will be enough. Tim's does have buyback available. Meanwhile, Armel does actually find Kezcute on the clock, and that should stop the push. As well as that, Gabby pushing that bot lane down, forcing a defense out of Boom Esports.
Yeah, TNC are holding on quite well. I think Kezcute just being caught out is costing a lot. They need the lockdown from the cogs to help them find these kills. Dreamocell does finish up the AC, so there's a lot more damage coming out from her bear. If they can find somewhere to channel that, it's just that they can't. And once more, Gabby, being left alone like this, might be able to really overtake. He's already 3k ahead of Dreamocell. So the TB is really building up here, and Boom has not been punishing.
Well, he needs just a bit more. He's getting there, though. I believe he has his full BKB on the way. Yeah, that's his courier. That's the BKB. What does he want after that, though? He's going to go for the Satanics. Fairly standard stuff for this TB. But at that point, once you've got that Satanic up, you're feeling a lot safer. Mind you, you are still concerned about the AA, but at least with the BKB, you won't need to be worried too much about the Ice Blast. And bot lane, Gabby ends up getting a kill onto Mikoto, and now they also end up finding Kezcute, and with that, it's a tier 3 push to start, and a Rax. This really shouldn't be happening here for Boom Esports.
Tim's just went in, commit the slam. That was enough. They don't have it for the next fight, but it doesn't matter when you take the objectives like this, and once more, you're seeing the effect of leaving Gabby alone. He's just doing a lot of work now. Fresh BKB up and running on the Terrorblade. That does mean that your burst damage towards him is limited.
It extends it to a 7k net worth lead for TNC now. Gabby's still farming up. Boom Esports must be aware that their time is slowly starting to run out. Dreamers are already getting prepared for having a bit more D push on the side of Boom Esports, trying to go for a Mjolnir. FBZ has to be careful down at that bot lane, but he does have his team making their way over to him. Rest of TNC were very close by. But they are going to try and TP out. They'll get Armel out of there. Tim's might not be so lucky, and Gabby's also around the corner. Just trying to break the distance. Ice Blast. Going to be used to scout out. Doesn't quite find anything. The Rocket Flare will spot out Gabby on the retreat, but you're not close enough for a hook shot. And so, Boom Esports now being the ones to chase around TNC, but don't find anything.
Yeah, and again, TNC, as this game stalls on, they are getting a lot more. Gabby just continues to grow to be a bigger threat. And Boom's farm is starting to fall behind. Dreamocell is at 15k, Gabby's at 20. Terrorblade really is building up a massive lead. What Boom needs to get done is really just find a solid pickoff. And that's what we were seeing from them earlier. They need to rely on Kezcute to isolate someone, burst them down, and then force a bigger fight with a numbers advantage.
Boom Esports back down to the bot lane, maybe just trying to set up for that bottom tier 2 tower that's been left. We do have another pause. Boom Esports still having multiple internet issues here, it seems. This time Dreamocell the one to have those issues.
Yeah, it's It's one of those days for the internet, I suppose.
Yeah.
Man, TNC, with that 7K lead, I mean, it's not just Gabby, although we've been talking about him a lot, but you look at Armel, with the Ags, the silence is going to cause a lot of issues there. The only real core to fall behind, well, quite a fair bit behind is KP, just really focusing on surviving. Force Staff, Hood of Defiance, and Glimmercake, all the magic resist in the world just to prevent himself from getting bursted down. Can't really blame him. This is taking quite a fair bit away from Boom. Mikado went all in on the Dagons, is saving up for the Aeon Disc next, just to give himself a little bit more survivability, and that's going to be key. They really need Mikado and Kezcute around, and Hyde as well, to land their combos off and burst one hero down. That's all they need to find a follow-up, and Boom has not been able to do that.
That they haven't. Still, Boom seems a bit confused about what they're doing here, right? Like, they've kind of been running around the map, smoking up, chasing TNC, but TNC has constantly just avoided them the past 5-10 minutes. Again, they find Armel, he'll TP up. KP will TP out. Gabby, though, he's been left alone. Gets stunned up. March will cancel his TP, but now the hookshot is in from Kezcute. Soulbind comes out. Ice Blast will be whiffed. March in trouble, and Gabby will be KB TP. Had March not cancelled that TP in time, that would have been disastrous. However, Dreamercell also going down at the bot lane.
Yeah, it's a better trade for TNC. They find the bigger target in the end. And Dreamercell going to be set back by quite a fair bit. And this is an opening.
FBZ going to be in trouble. Nice vicious start there onto FBZ. They don't have the Reaper Scythe. It was used for the Lone Druid, but they don't need it. They've got the Spirit Vessel, and the damage from Armel is enough. And now Hyde trying to cancel, or trying to TP out, does get cancelled. And will end up dying. Armel picking up a double kill on the Void Spirit. And the Roshan has just come up. They've got a double damage rune sitting there. Perfect timing for TNC.
Yeah, they've got the Metamorphosis up as well if they wanted to use it there. Just a lot of opportunities here for TNC to build up, and boom. Man, it's just slowly kind of falling apart for them. The lead grows wider, they're not finding the pickoffs they want. They're going to have to give this Roche away as well. And they could try to hookshot in with Kezcute, it's only him and Mikado, and there's not much you can expect from just two heroes here.
Oh, for sure, though, you go for the steal. Like, Kezcute has to try for it, I think. He sees it, but he's got to find a gap, and yeah, no. March is already aware. Does get in there on the high ground, make sure that there's no angles. Tims is blocking the angles as well here on the side of the Roshan pit. And so, you won't bother trying to throw your life away as the clock. And TNC now. The Aegis up on Gabby. Still going to be fairly cautious. They do actually have Meta up, but they don't have the Echo. It's going to come off cooldown now. Perhaps TNC could opt to just go for a quick smoke play and try and commit that Aegis straight off the bat, considering you do have all those big ultis up.
Yeah, there's nothing that can stop them. Again, Boom has kind of fallen apart here. They need to get the jump in either from Kezcute or FBZ. But every single time, they've just been isolated and kind of been chasing around, as you mentioned. So, Boom, they need to maybe wait for a few more items on Dreamercell. He is building up a lot more in the bear, but it's going to be a slow build-up towards the Abyssal here.
Well, Gabby's going to start making his way into that mid lane. Just going to secure that tier 2 mid tower. The backdoor protection, however, not able to get through it, so they'll have to wait for that creep wave. Gabby just going to use his illusion to get the work done. Still, TNC are going to wait for a way to try and get into this this high ground, and actually FBZ out of position here, or maybe just baiting. Gabby, Fisher going to come out from Tim's. Reaper Scythe now, but there's a Glimmer Cape there. FBZ is safe. He BKBs up, but it's too much physical damage from Gabby, and now they go back down onto the Lone Druid. Gabby with the Spider Legs just goes down the cliff. Dreamer Soul's in big trouble right now. Hook shot him from Kescu, but what an echo. Tim's holding the supports back, not allowing any kind of healing, and that'll mean Dreamer Soul will die. We see one buyback, but the rest of the cores on Boom Esports, they don't have buybacks available. And that's the GG.
Yeah.
TNC that quickly end out game number 2.
Boom, man, they just gave too much space to Gabby to farm up. It looked like they were finding the early objectives there, but the chasing around went against them, and in the end, TNC got enough space out. And this is also the difference when you give Armel a hero he can set the tempo with, right? Like the Void Spirit had a lot more activity, it bought a lot more space, and that did enable TNC to get the farm they needed up.
That it did, John, and that'll mean TNC at least does find one win for today. That is their final day for TNC to play, at least for now. Boom Esports, they will draw out with TNC, and that means we go on to our next series of the day, John. It will be Geek Fam up against Boom Esports coming up next on this stream. It is MLP and johnxfire. There'll probably be about a 20-minute break. And after that, we'll go into the first game draft between Geek Fam and Boom Esports. We'll see you then.